Okay, so we are so we're reading the 4th canto, chapter 12, text 31 and text 32. So this is we are coming to the end of this most glorious pastime. Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead. This is such an amazing pastime. But all the pastimes in the Bhagavatam are amazing, but I find this one quite inspiring. We see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also so eager to hear this pastime, and he recommended to all his associates that they should also listen to the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj going back to Godhead. I mean, this whole pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. So now we're at the culmination where Dhruva Maharaj is actually he's achieving his final step in his journey, that he's heading back to Godhead. So text 31 and 32. So text 31 doesn't have a purport, so I'll just do 32. Okay. Tada Translation. At that time, drums and kettle drums resounded from the sky. The chief Gandharvas began to sing, and other demigods showered flowers like torrents of rain upon Dhruva Maharaj. Text 32. Sacha swarlokamarokshan sunitim jananim dhruva anvasmarad agam hitva dinam yase trivishtabam. Sacha swarlokamarokshan sunitim jananim dhruva anvasmarad agam hitva dinam yase trivishtabam. Sacha swarlokamarokshan sunitim jananim dhruva anvasmarad agam hitva dinam yase trivishtabam. Saha he cha also swalokam to the celestial planet, arokshan about to ascend, suniti jananim mother, Dhruva Maharaj, anvasmarad immediately remembered, agam difficult to attain, hitva leaving behind, dinam poor, yase I shall go, trivishtabam to the Vaikuntha planet. Translation. Dhruva was seated in the transcendental airplane, which was just about to start, when he remembered his poor mother Suniti. He thought to himself, how shall I go alone to the Vaikuntha planet and leave behind my poor mother? Purport. Dhruva had a feeling of obligation to his mother Suniti. It was Suniti who had given him the clue, which had now enabled him to be personally carried to the Vaikuntha planet by the associates of Lord Vishnu. He now remembered her and wanted to take her with him. Actually, Dhruva Maharaj's mother Suniti was his Patha Pradarshaka Guru. Patha Pradarshaka Guru means the Guru or the spiritual master who shows the way. Such a Guru is sometimes called Shiksha Guru. Although Narada Muni was his Diksha Guru, initiating spiritual master, Suniti, his mother, was the first who gave him instruction on how to achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the duty of the Shiksha Guru or the Diksha Guru to instruct the disciple in the right way. And it depends on the disciple to execute the process. According to Shastric injunctions, there is no difference between Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. And generally, the Shiksha Guru later on becomes a Diksha Guru. Suniti, however, being a woman, and specifically his mother, could not become Dhruva Maharaj's Diksha Guru. Still, he was not less obliged to Suniti. There was no question of carrying Narada Muni to Vaikuntha Loka, but Dhruva Maharaj thought of his mother. Whatever plan the Supreme Personality of Godhead contemplates immediately fructifies. Similarly, a devotee who is completely dependent on the Supreme Lord can also fulfill his wishes by the grace of the Lord. The Lord fulfills his wishes independently, but a devotee fulfills his wishes simply by being dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, as soon as Dhruva Maharaj thought of his poor mother, he was assured by the associates of Vishnu that Suniti was also going to Vaikuntha Loka in another plane. Dhruva Maharaj had thought that he was going alone to Vaikuntha Loka, leaving behind his mother, which was not very auspicious because people would criticize him for going alone to Vaikuntha Loka and not carrying with him Suniti, who had given him so much. But Dhruva also considered that he was not personally the supreme. Therefore, if Krishna fulfilled his desires, only then would it be possible. Krishna could immediately understand his mind, and he told Dhruva that his mother, um, Krishna could immediately understand his mind, and he told Dhruva that his mother was also going with him. This incident proves that a pure devotee like Dhruva Maharaj can fulfill all his desires by the grace of the Lord. He becomes exactly like the Lord, and thus, whenever he thinks of anything, his wish is immediately fulfilled. So, translation Dhruva was seated in the transcendental airplane, which was just about to start, when he remembered his poor mother Suniti. He thought to himself, how shall I go alone to the Vaikuntha planet and leave behind my poor mother? Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanam Janashalakaya Chakshurunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guru Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutami Swayambhuvmakadamani Dadanti Swaparanti Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Sari Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Okay, I'm just gonna get some water. So there are a few points in this purport that struck out to me that I thought could be discussed in today's class. So the first point that really struck me was just the first line in the purport, where Prabhupada is saying that Dhruva had a feeling of obligation to his mother Suniti. So my spiritual master, he often says in his classes that that the devotee, that it's a quality of the devotee to be grateful. So as devotees, we should always be grateful, or we should aspire to increase our gratitude, and that and he always makes this point that it is actually very important for us to express our gratitude towards other devotees. So if we look at our own journey in Krishna consciousness, at our own bhakti journey, we will see that actually wherever we are, wherever we are in our spiritual life, it is very little of it has to do with our own, because very little of it is because of our own effort. Our current position in bhakti is the cumulative effect of the mercy of so many devotees, and the sacrifice of so many devotees. Often Maya, by the effect of the material energy, we can think that actually, oh, I'm doing so much and I'm sacrificing so much for Krishna, and maybe that's why I'm here. I'm wherever I am. But actually, whatever we have, whatever assets we have in bhakti, are due to the sacrifices that are made by other devotees. So if we look at our own bhakti journey, we can see that how right from our own, right from the point where we started, it has come about by the mercy of other devotees. So our initial steps in bhakti, our introduction to the process of Krishna consciousness, everything, like the association that we have of the devotees when we're just starting our bhakti journey, Then devotees are working so hard, they're tolerating us. They tolerate us, um, especially in our starting days. I mean, even now, like we always, it is that, at least it's my own tendency, um, that we think, that we don't need the medicine. So devotees are always patiently advising us on what to do, on what not to do, and they're tolerating us, even though we think, that okay, actually, I'm doing quite well. I don't need your advice. But devotees are tolerating us and they're advising us, okay, that you should do like this, you should do like that. Maybe this is not so good for you to do, but still, we go ahead and we do our own thing. And they're still there, in the background, waiting for us to come back. Okay, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. But devotees are still always so accepting and so open-hearted and so forgiving. So if it wasn't for the mercy of the devotees, where would we be? So it is so it is so important for us to feel gratitude for the devotees that are there in our life, or for the devotees that were there in our life, no matter how small their contribution has been. But like devotees are, like some devotees, we may be intimately connected with them, or some devotees, they may just inspire, like we may not have a close connection with them, but they may inspire us a lot in our bhakti. We may be listening to their classes or their kirtans, or maybe they're a part of some other yatra, and we've just had some contact with them, but we are inspired by them. So so it's so important. So it's so important to feel this gratitude in the heart. Otherwise, if gratitude is not there, then pride comes. So my Guru Maharaj always says that that we should actually express our gratitude towards these devotees. He gives his own personal example, and he says that even if he meets someone, who helped him maybe 10 years back in his spiritual life, he always makes sure that he expresses that gratitude towards them. Because then when we express our gratitude, the devotees will feel inspired in their service. That yes, that I made this sacrifice to help someone, and it actually helped them. Because it is the job of material energy to make us think that actually our efforts in spiritual life are, that they don't matter. But actually every little bit counts. So if we do our part in acknowledging the service of other devotees, and in expressing our gratitude for their efforts, and for their endeavors in bhakti that inspire us, then they will be inspired in their service. So we are always feeling grateful, and we should always feel obliged towards the sacrifice of other devotees, even though it may not be, even though it may not be apparent to us. But so many devotees are sacrificing, and they're and they're making a contribution for us to move ahead. We read in Shastra that it is that this point is so inconceivable, that we read these points in the Shastra, that how like for example, we read that Narayan Rishi is still, that they're still sitting in the Himalayas, and they're still doing their meditation for the benefit of for the benefit of the whole world. And then we also read about our recent acharyas like Gorakishodas Babaji and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and that how it is because of their sacrifice, and it is because of the power of their devotional service, that that people are still coming to Krishna consciousness all around the world. So even though it may not be apparent to us, that how their devotional service is so strong that it affects us, but it is true. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that there are so many devotees who are around us, and it is because of their purity and because of their chanting Hare Krishna that they are creating this strong vibration, that that the atmosphere is purified, that actually we are able to practice Krishna consciousness. So it is important for us to actually feel this gratitude and express it, to feel this obligation in the heart. So that was one point that I wanted to make. that we are always dependent on the mercy of devotees around us. Then the second point is what Prabhupada is making here, that Suniti, Dhruva Maharaj's mother, she was actually his Patha Pradarshaka Guru. And that such a guru is sometimes called Shiksha Guru. And then later in the purport, Prabhupada is saying here that, okay, that although that Dhruva Maharaj's mother could not become his Diksha Guru, and although, she was a woman and she was his mother, but still Dhruva Maharaj was not less obliged to him. So this, so what I got from here was that, that throughout our journey in Krishna consciousness, that we can have, that we'll have so many, that lessons to improve in bhakti will come to us through so many ways. Yeah, sometimes, not sometimes, but so many times actually, Krishna sends us lessons through people, or through agents who may be seemingly less important than us, or they may seem to us not so significant in our eyes. And I'm just speaking for myself here. It's like, for example, when someone who comes around who has been who is seemingly in a lower position, or who has not been practicing Krishna consciousness for so long, or maybe is a karmi, or just someone, it's like I'm not willing to take a lesson from them, but here from Dhruva Maharaj's example, we can see that no matter no matter where the lesson comes from, to advance in Krishna consciousness, we should take it, and that we should be grateful for that lesson. So for example, we see that how I hope I'm not wrong, but Bilva Mangala Thakur, he is so grateful to Chintamani, because he says that actually Chintamani was his, he regards Chintamani as his guru. And he doesn't consider her less, he doesn't consider her less important, like he's not less obliged to her. Yeah, so we should be equally grateful, and we should be equally grateful to anyone who is giving us the lesson, and we should feel obliged towards them, no matter where the lesson is coming from. And also another point that I felt that was important here was how Prabhupada is saying here, Suniti, however, being a woman and specifically his mother, could not become Dhruva Maharaj's Diksha Guru. So it's interesting how Prabhupada is saying here that specifically because she was his mother, she could not become his Diksha Guru. So it's it shows here the importance of us having mentors outside our own family circle. Because if we have mentors and gurus who are in our own family circle, then the advice that we may get, or the guidance that we may get, it may not be so objective, because they're so closely, because our family members are so closely connected to us. So it is, there might be some bias in the guidance that we get from there. That's why it's very important for us to actually have mentors who are who are outside of our family. Of course, not everyone is, so fortunate to have family members who are also practicing Krishna consciousness. But if they are, here we have an example that we should still have mentors, and mentors who are not in our family circle. And I was thinking an example of this is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that even though Bhakti Vinod Thakur was a liberated personality and such a great devotee, he said, he did not give initiation to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur accepted Gaura Kishore Das Babaji as his spiritual master. So I thought that was also an interesting point. That it is important for us to actually reveal our mind and to take guidance from devotees who are outside our close circle. And then another point here in this purport is that it is the duty of the Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru to instruct the disciple in the right way, and it depends on the disciple to execute the process. So, in another purport, Prabhupada says, I think it's somewhere in the third canto, Prabhupada just makes a point that he says that it is illegal if a spiritual master cannot deliver his disciple. So it is the duty of the spiritual master to deliver his disciple. So it is actually the duty of the spiritual master to instruct the disciple in the right way. So sometimes the instruction, or sometimes sometimes the instructions of the spiritual master, or sometimes the spiritual master might chastise us, and it might not seem, and it might be hard for us to take it. The treatment, sometimes the medicine that comes from the spiritual master might be hard for us to take. But it is his duty to instruct us in that way, so that we can get purified and move ahead in Krishna consciousness. So whatever comes from the spiritual master, we should just take it as medicine, as that this is actually what I need. And this is what it means to be submissive, that whatever the spiritual master gives, we take it as a medicine. That yes, I need this. My spiritual master, he gives this example, that if we are sick and if we go to a doctor, and if the doctor gives us the medicine, we take it knowing that actually, yes, I need to take this medicine because this medicine is going to cure me. We don't make a fuss, we just take the medicine. Because we know that we need to get cured. So similarly, when the spiritual master, whatever comes from the spiritual master, we just take it as a medicine, that actually this is for my benefit, and I must do this. So that is what it means to be a submissive disciple. So the spiritual master is doing his part, and then we have to do our part. So we have to do our part to execute the process of sadhana bhakti properly. And it is also our duty. To be introspective and see that actually, am I applying this process properly or not? And this proper introspection, is actually possible in the association of devotees, because in the association of devotees, we can see. In the association of sincere devotees, we can see what is the right standard and what is the proper standard for executing Krishna consciousness. In the association of devotees who are enthusiastic and who are selfless, and who are actually going out of their way, who are sacrificing to forward the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can be inspired, and we can, then we can actually properly be introspective, that am I doing my part? Yeah. So often, we can often, this is for myself, I can, I have this tendency to think, oh, there is this process of bhakti working or not, that I'm doing my part, but is it working or not? Why do I not feel that I'm making any tangible progress? But if we feel that way, then we have to properly actually examine ourselves, that am I applying myself properly? And this also means to be conscious and to be mindful of whether am I applying this process properly, or am I just being mechanical? So I've been listening to this. Class by my Guru Maharaj. He is speaking on the emotional dynamics of a devotee, and he's explaining, that of course. That of course we understand that at the stage of Vaidhi Bhakti, we don't have a spontaneous desire to perform devotional service, but nonetheless we can emotionally invest our energies, even in the beginning stages of Bhakti. So every opportunity to do devotional service is an opportunity for emotionally invest ourselves. And then when we emotionally invest ourselves, that yes, that I have this opportunity to do this sacrifice for Krishna, or to do something for Krishna, and I have an opportunity to serve my spiritual master. So and actually in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, is so inspiring in this regard, because we see the emotional dynamics of being a devotee, that that the whole that the different members of Panchatattva, they are so ecstatic because they're seeing themselves as servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we see that the different personalities of Vishnu Tattva, like Vishnu Tattva personalities, are also so eager to serve Krishna. So we see Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Mahavishnu, everyone, they just want to serve Krishna, that everyone actually wants to be the servant. So it is such a glorious position to actually be the servant. But it is unfortunate that because of our material conditioning, we have the tendency that we don't want to be the servant, but we want to be the master. But actually, this is our constitutional position, to be the servant. And when we are in our constitutional position, then we are ecstatic to be the servant, and we are ecstatic to serve. So in our beginning stages in bhakti, we have this anticipation that this is our emotional investment, that actually we have this anticipation that even though I'm not like this now, but one day I will be like that. And that will be my good fortune, that when will that day come that I will actually serve Krishna with all my heart, and I will be so grateful to have such a glorious master. So we emotionally, we invest our heart in it. Otherwise, if we don't actually invest our emotional energies, and if we are not attentive in our devotional service, and if we're not grateful, then the heart can become dry, and it can seem to us, that why is my bhakti experience so dry? But if we are experiencing like that, then it's not the fault of the process. It's actually our own, we are lacking in some way. Because this process of bhakti is it's the most scientific. It's the most scientific science of science of the highest emotional experience. So there is no way that it can be a dry experience, even in the stages of Vaidhi Bhakti. So if we are experiencing dryness, then it's then we have to do some soul searching. We have to do some introspection, and we need to apply ourselves with new vigor. Yeah, like every day in bhakti is an opportunity for us to apply ourselves even more. Is to put our heart in it even more. That how can I put my heart in this even more? Okay. Actually, this reminds me of another point that I wanted to. It brings a point to my mind. Recently, Mother Devaki was here, and she was giving these classes, and she was saying that we have to see how we're actually doing devotional service. So she made this point. That how am I actually doing devotional service? Yeah, so she gave this example with regards to chanting. That to actually do some introspection and see whether we are attentive in japa, and how attention comes on. Inattention is on 3 levels. So you have the inattention of the body, the mind, and the heart. So I was thinking that even when that not just japa, that how we can apply this principle of attention to other aspects of our bhakti practice. So when we do devotional service, so whatever whatever devotional service we're doing, whether it be hearing, chanting, or worshiping the deity, or interacting with devotees, are we involved on these 3 levels? So the first level is the level of the body. So is our body attentive, or are we lazy? Are we sleepy? Are we attentive on the level of the mind? That are we actually present there, or are we distracted? Is the mind somewhere else? So what can we do to bring the mind to our service? And the third is inattentiveness on the level of the heart, which means to be indifferent. So how can I not be indifferent? How can I put my heart into this service? So we can evaluate ourselves in this way, that actually how did I do my service today? Did I endeavor with great determination? Was my heart involved? Was I inattentive? Yeah. To this point of that, it is the duty of the spiritual master to instruct us in the right way, but then it is for the disciple to follow his part. So this is the part that we have to do, that we have to actually apply the process of sadhana bhakti very properly and very vigorously. It's like we really want to, we have this opportunity. Prabhupada has given us this amazing opportunity that if we want to, we can actually achieve perfection in this one lifetime. So we should definitely do our part. Okay, and then the next point is okay. So the next point is this one: whatever plan the Supreme Personality of Godhead contemplates immediately fructifies. Similarly, a devotee who is completely dependent on the Supreme Lord can also fulfill his wishes by the grace of the Lord. So Krishna is sitting in our heart, and Krishna knows all our desires. So we don't have to, of course, we pray to Krishna. We pray to Krishna to help us in our spiritual life, to help us overcome our obstacles in devotional service. but we should know that actually Krishna knows all our desires, and that Krishna will fulfill all our spiritual desires in his own according to his timetable. Like my spiritual master always makes this point that Krishna knows best. Krishna is Rasaraj, and Krishna is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. So Krishna actually knows how to extract the best rasa, and Krishna knows how to reciprocate in the best way with us. So Krishna will fulfill our desires in the best way. He will make the best arrangement to fulfill our spiritual desires in the best way, so that we can make that that is the most suitable for our progress, and that it brings him pleasure. So that is how Krishna will fulfill our spiritual desires. And I think we all have experience of this, that Krishna fulfills our desires in a way that is better than we can imagine. So whatever spiritual desires that we have, Krishna will fulfill them. Like, he might not fulfill our material desires, fair enough. We have examples where we see that sometimes Krishna does fulfill material desires, and when he does them, actually whatever Krishna does is so perfect and is so inconceivable that when he does something, it's like it's like everyone just has to sit back and watch, that actually the way Krishna did it was beyond our imagination, and that it could not have been any better than the way that he did it. So when it comes to fulfilling material desires, Krishna might fulfill them, and Krishna might not fulfill them. But the point here is that even if Krishna does not fulfill our material desires, we will not feel that, if we are rightly situated in bhakti, we will not feel that lack in our heart, that actually Krishna did not fulfill this desire. So, how often again and again Prabhupada gives this example, that if you water the root, the whole tree is watered. So similarly, if you feed the stomach, the whole body is nourished. So even though there might be some material desires that are not fulfilled, but you will not feel that way, because somehow the heart is just completely fulfilled. You won't feel that you're lacking in any way. And sometimes Krishna may fulfill our material desires. So we see, in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, that's what he has done. That he has, that Dhruva Maharaj asked for a kingdom that was greater than his grandfather's, and Krishna did, he did fulfill that desire. But you see here that how Dhruva Maharaj is dependent on Krishna to fulfill his desire. He knows that he's thinking about his mother, and he would like his mother to come, but he's dependent on Krishna's mercy, that if Krishna desires, then it will get fulfilled. So I was thinking about this point, that how does it actually apply to us? Because I mean, it's like in like Dhruva Maharaj's case, that how he desired a kingdom greater than Lord Brahma's, and he got it. Like, this might be a bit hard to see in our personal lives, that we're getting a kingdom bigger than Brahma. I mean, I don't think we have such desires, but I'm thinking of it more from a spiritual perspective, that how Krishna fulfills our spiritual desires. So an example of this is, I was thinking of Maharaj Prataparudra. So we see that that Maharaj Prataparudra was striving for quite some time to get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was so persistent, and he was not to be disappointed. And finally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he fulfilled that desire. He fulfilled that desire, and also like Maharaj, the reciprocation that Maharaj Prataparudra received from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was way more than than what he was expecting. So yeah, so that is an example. And so we have other so we have other examples of this. So text 4.8 Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya Sadhunam. So in that purport, actually, Prabhupada is explaining that the whole reason why Krishna comes to the material world is to actually fulfill the desires of his devotees. So this is Krishna's pastime. Lord Narasimhadev, he's saying to Prahlad Maharaj that it is my pastime to fulfill that Krishna likes to give benedictions. And Krishna likes to fulfill the desires of his devotees. So we should rest assured that actually, if we have that, our spiritual desires in devotional service will get fulfilled. We see, we have examples from Krishna Leela. It's like Mother Yashoda. She wants to, she has the Vatsalya Ras. So that's why Krishna appears as a small child, just to fulfill the desire of his devotee. So similarly, we must have that faith that Krishna will fulfill our desires. And also, another example of that is when as the Brahma Vimohana Leela, is that Krishna uses that opportunity. He expands himself into all the calves and the cowherd boys, because all the mothers, the elder gopis in Vrindavan, they wanted to have Krishna as their own son, and similarly the cows as well. So Krishna expands himself to fulfill those desires of the devotees. So yeah, so we should be persistent and stick to it, that actually, yes, Krishna will fulfill our desire. Okay, and then the last point was the example of Dhruva Maharaj, that how that Dhruva Maharaj, that how his mother Suniti, she got a ticket, she got to go back home to Godhead because of the desire of her son. And similarly, we also see that Hiranyakashipu also got liberation because of the desire of his son. So the best thing that we can do for others is to be Krishna conscious ourselves. It's because when we are Krishna conscious ourselves, and it's when we are striving to be Krishna conscious, and when we are endeavoring sincerely in our bhakti, then naturally, from a pure heart, we also desire the benefit of others, and Krishna fulfills the desires of his devotees. So then when we are seeking the benefit of others, then naturally, Krishna helps us out, because by ourselves we can't actually do anything for anyone. We can't be anyone's friend, we can't be a well-wisher for anyone, because we're too tiny to be actually able to help someone. But when Krishna sees that actually we want to help someone, then Krishna is the super soul in their heart, inspires that other person in their bhakti. So the best thing that we can do for others is to be Krishna conscious ourselves, is to increase our own purity, is to increase the force of our own desire to serve Krishna. When we have that, when we are endeavoring to increase our own desire to serve Krishna, then others will be inspired by that desire. That desire to serve Krishna, that strong desire to serve Krishna is contagious, and others will catch on to it, and others will be inspired by it. So actually, so those are the points that I had to make. So just to quickly summarize, so the points, the takeaways from this purport that I had was, the first point was that the devotee is always grateful, is that we're always feeling obliged for the mercy that we have received, and that we're always grateful for the mercy of all the devotees, who have helped us, to come to where we are in our current stage in Krishna consciousness. And we're so grateful for the sacrifice that other devotees are making. And we always want to express that gratitude so that they can be inspired to keep going like that, to inspire others, because it requires sacrifice. It requires sacrifice to guide others in bhakti. So that was the first point. Then the second point was that we take lessons from wherever they are coming, and we are grateful. We don't consider anyone, to be at a less. We don't consider any lesson. We don't minimize the importance of a lesson if it is coming from someone who is seemingly at a lesser position. We still feel obliged towards them because they're guiding us in our bhakti. That was the second point. And the third point was that it is the duty of the spiritual master to instruct his disciples. So whatever is coming from the spiritual master, we take it as medicine. That I need this to move ahead in my bhakti. And then we have to do our part. So we have to be introspective, that are we actually applying ourselves properly in our devotional service? Am I actually investing my heart in this? Am I attentive on all three levels, on the level of the body, mind, and the heart? That point, and then the next point was that actually Krishna fulfills all our desires. So if we are persistent, we just have to stick to it, and then Krishna will fulfill our spiritual desires. In his own time, whenever, because he knows best. Krishna is Rasaraj, so he knows best how to take. He knows how to extract the essence, how to get the best nectar out of us. So we just have to be patient. And the best that we can do for others is to be Krishna conscious ourselves. And then by that strong desire to serve Krishna, by the strong selfless desire to serve Krishna, we'll be able to inspire others as well. Okay, so I'd like to stop there. And if there are any comments or reflections, please come forward.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can hear you.
A beautiful class, how you explained all the points. And the points are very, very accurate to be following in this way, how to be a devotee should always be grateful, no matter what is the status of the giver. It doesn't matter. It matters how grateful you are. The second point you said, when you become grateful, then automatically things starts flowing. Then following up the spiritual master instruction thoroughly, and it is up to us how we take it up. And when we do this, the Krishna automatically works on us and gives the blessings, because he knows how to fulfill the desire of a devotee. And that's how Krishna comes in, as you said, in 4:8. Krishna comes to fulfill the desire of the devotees time to time. It is not like that. It is a time to come for Krishna. It is the desire of the devotee. He comes down and
Yeah.
help the devotee to progress. And the last point, I was just how the Mahabhagavat, they are none other than the God Himself, and whatever they desire, Krishna is bound to fulfill that desire. And that was the point I was about to add.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So this is all about our devotion. The more intense is our devotion, more effect we get from Krishna. As you said, that the three things about how we do the bhakti, whether it is attached to the body, whether it is attached to the mind, and finally it is attached to the heart. When all three are in line, then only the introspection happens. And that is the way how we test ourselves, the progress in our individual spiritual life. Thank you
Mm.
so much for enlightening so many points.
Oh,
Thank you once again. Hare Krishna.
thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Braham.
Thank
Thank you for a very enlightening class on this verse and the purport. You covered so many nice points. One thing I noticed here, according to Srila Prabhupada, he says, according to Shastric injunctions, there is no difference between the Siksha Guru and the Diksha Guru. And generally, the Siksha Guru later become the Diksha Guru. So, but I see in ISKCON, we don't have so much reverence or for the Siksha Guru, although we may have so many Siksha Guru. So how can we do that better?
Mm. It's interesting to make that point because I'm actually reading this book by Devaki Mataji, Sheltering Relationships, and she is speaking about the importance of having a mentor system.
Mhm.
Yeah, and she's actually speaking about this. So she is saying, let me just give me 1 second. One second. So she talks about I'll just read this part because it's really nice. So she's actually comparing the difference between a shiksha guru and a mentor. So she's establishing the importance of having that, how every devotee should have a mentor, that we should all have mentors. So she's saying, out of Vaishnav humility, a mentor is advised not to consider himself to be a shiksha guru, but rather a confidential, well-wishing friend. This vision will protect him from getting carried away by pride and running after name, fame, and followers. Considering ourselves to be Guru may offer a last opportunity to try and imitate Krishna, the last snare of Maya, enjoying honor, respect, and facilities, seeing ourselves as directly representing Krishna, and thus to be treated equally to him. Therefore, a mentor cultivates a humble mood of serving his mentees as a confidential, well-wishing friend, never considering them to be his shiksha disciples. Yeah, and so and then she says here further, the relationship with a shiksha guru is less involved on the practical level of daily life. There are shiksha relationships of various levels of commitment. A shiksha disciple may simply listen to lectures and in this way receive valuable inspiration, or he may occasionally write and receive instructions through correspondence. So yeah, I don't think it answers your question, but like, for example, I can just speak from my personal experiences that I take, I listen a lot to Vaisheshekar Prabhu, and yeah, I listen a lot to Vaisheshekar Prabhu. I take a lot of guidance from him. So I think each one of us, we all have, we have our Diksha Guru, but then we may also have other, other senior devotees that we hear from. So then they become our Shiksha Gurus. That's what I can think of. How would you answer this, Prabhu?
No, I don't really hear from you because, yeah, I think the Shiksha Guru relation is like more informal, because like a friend or mentor, as you mentioned. But
Yes.
the Diksha Guru is very formal and very authoritative. But here,
Yes.
Prabhupada on the same level. It depends on the disciple or the devotee how he want to relish this relationship. So I came through a lot of devotees who helped me.
Yes.
Some of them have left the movement. But I always consider them my Shiksha Guru. I have a very obligation because they're the one who helped me out. So still I maintain some relation, but it's a bit difficult now because they are not here physically. So
Yeah.
we appreciate that, like you said, Dhruva Maharaj was feeling obligation to his mother because she's the one who showed him the way. Similarly, we have a lot of Shiksha Guru who has showed us the way, and we should be obliged to them. And as you mentioned, we should be very grateful for giving this shelter or giving the initial push to be where we are. So that's a very wonderful point. This the book you're referring, Mataji, from Devi Dasi, Sheltering Relationship.
Yeah.
I just got a gift from my friend.
Yes. Did someone gift it to you?
Yes.
Yes.
I was just trying to read. I just added the introduction.
Yeah, it's a wonderful book, especially like the last sections of this book. I think they are very, I think you will find them, they are very helpful, especially for devotees like who are mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a really nice book.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
But anybody else got any comment, transition?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavad Pranam once again. This what we see in practice, that Shiksha Guru is all from, like this session is also a part of Shiksha Guru, isn't it? Because we collect all the information and we get it branched, and at one point it gets deposited, and from there we extract the ras, and then it gets connected with the spiritual master, which is Diksha Guru, more intensely. So each and every day, listening the Bhagavatam is none other than the Shiksha Guru's contribution to guide us in every day's life. So whatever the instruction we get from the lessons, teachings from all our devotees, senior devotees, is there equally important, because they give us the Shiksha, and from there we extract and get more connected with our spiritual master. That's how I understand this thing. So it is many branched.
Thank you, Prabhu, for this wonderful comment, clarification on this issue. Okay, we are just about there. The time is running out, so we'll close the class. Thank you very much, Mati, for coming forward this morning, giving such a illuminating class on this verse and so many different points, takeaway points you mentioned. Thank you very much. Her Grace Munjaranya Mataji ki jai, Shri Prabhupada.
Jai.
Vanchakalpadravesha.
Vaiष्णवेभ्यो नमः.
Vaiष्णवेभ्यो ki jai.